Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar by Royal Cyber. My name is Ali, and I will be your host and one of the speakers for today. Now, some ground rules for a smoother experience before we begin. If you cannot see my screen or hear me properly, kindly notify me at the chat window on the right side of the pane. During the presentation, you can post your questions and comments in the chat box anytime. Also, there will be a dedicated session for Q&A towards the end of this presentation. Your questions will be answered in the sequence in which they are received. Additionally, you can post your questions or write to us for a follow-up information on the email ID shown here. And finally, we would love to hear back from you about today's session by completing a short survey, which will be shared towards the tail end. Okay, so in the next 45 minutes, we will discuss how IIB to App Connect migration assistance can help and what is this migration accelerator all about. So with me today, I have been joined by two of the great and the knowledgeable speakers. On my left side is Mr. Mir Mustafa Ali Pasha, who's the practice head for middleware. And on my right side is Mr. Farooq Zubairi, who's the practice lead for middleware. Now let's discuss what we want to cover in the agenda today. So we'll quickly start off with the Royal Cyber overview. We will talk about why to migrate from IIB to ACE. What are the migration patterns we have seen so far? What are the migration best practices? What is I2AC and its features and the new releases that we have launched in the upcoming version? I2AC ROI and benefits, followed by a demo, and then there is a surprise at the end, and then followed up with a question and answer session. Now let's have a quick glance at Royal Cyber. So we're a mid-sized IT consulting and digital transformation company specializing in services, solutions, and softwares. We have over 1,500 employees globally. Our headquarters is in Naperville, Illinois, and we have global presence with offices in Canada, the UK, Australia, and the Middle East. We do have multiple offshore development centers in India and other Asian countries. Our strategic partnership with several technology companies providing best of the breed software and solutions such as MuleSoft, IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, Dell, SAP, coupled with business agility and following the Sun delivery model makes a Royal Cyber unique choice for many customers globally. And we've got some of the awards and recognitions as well. We're ISO 27001 2013 certified, and some of the awards that we've got. Now, let's talk about why do we need to migrate from IIB to ACE. Okay, so first thing first. So IIB has announced the end of support date for IIB 10 as of April 30th, 2022. IBM will offer extended support for the additional 3 years beyond that, beyond the end of support date. And since we've seen multiple deployment topologies available, so ACE can be used as following deployment topologies such as on-premise, cloud pack for integrations, or in a Docker container. And IBM App Connect Enterprise version 12 brings a lot of innovation, which we'll talk about in the next slides as well. And then what are the technical benefits? So the technical benefits includes ACE utilizes lesser resources such as CPU, memories, and disk. ACE uses only a single operating system process, while IIB needs multiple processes for a single integration server. In ACE, policies are used instead of configuration files. Policies can be packaged into a bar file, or so that change release will be a single deployment. And in IIB, if the changes are made to the configuration files, we have to reload the integration server for changes to take effect. In ACE developer can use policies to control runtime behavior. Okay, so how is IBM ACE better? So there are many reasons to it. So the number one is improve developer productivity. Now, what is that? So that basically means that improve time to value through intelligent and optimized tools, provide integrated and common user experience with API management plus new tutorials and accelerators. Then we have got AI powered mapping assistance available as well, and through the drag and drop you can basically create all that mapping assistance. We've got test and dev automation to fast track the adoption of agile practices while mitigating risks. And new test driven development capabilities accelerate shift left strategy, enabling developers to iteratively test as they develop and automate test authorities. Uh, Extended connectivity with new smart connectors. IBM App Connect Enterprise Designer makes it easy to connect your system and application both on cloud and on premise by including over 200 plus pre developed smart connectors in the catalog. Then we have got hybrid cloud operations, um, achieve enriched operational visibility and control access across any development using the new dashboard, which provides end to end transparency of the integration runtime across all environments. And then we have business transaction monitoring. The capability helps you in monitoring the end to end life cycle of your enterprise transactions, ensuring you get the best out of them. Okay, what are some of the migration patterns that we have seen? So we've seen actually three different patterns: in place migration, parallel migration, and extract migration. Now let's talk about what is in place migration. So it's a big bang approach where existing installation is overlaid with a new version. Traditionally, it was achieved using the MS sorry it was achieved using MQSI migrate components command, which translate all deployed resources and configurations to that required by the new version. Now this command is not supported in ACE. However, there is a workaround to implement this migration pattern, but it is not recommended due to the nature of risk involved. And then we have parallel migration. This is the staged safe approach that ensures the old IIB servers are running until the new ACE servers are stable and fully functional. In this approach, you should manually configure the new server and ensure all changes made to the old server are replicated correctly in the new server. Missing out unknown changes can lead to unstable behavior of deployed apps. Extract migration. This is an approach and tooling that combines the best bits of both in place and parallel. In this approach, you will extract both the configurations and resources from old nodes and apply them on the newer version. This is achieved using a combination of MQSI backup broker and MQSI extract component command in sequence on the old and new version respectively. This command can be used to migrate both the integration nodes and individual integration servers. Now, what is the migration approach that we can take? So there are only two different type of approaches that we can do for the migration. So the first one is the manual one, and the other one is the automated one. So in the manual approach, all tasks done manually, which takes considerable time and prone to human errors. This is not recommended, especially in the age of hyper automation. The second approach is automation, where some or all tasks are automated or semi automated. All resources and configurations are extracted and moved to the destination system automatically based on few input parameters. Hence, the change of error is low allowing you to accelerate your project and go to market in a shorter time frame. Hence, this approach is highly recommended. Okay, so what is I2AC? I2AC stands for IBM to App Connect. This is an accelerator developed by Royal Cyber Team to fast track the completion of ACE migration project. It is a very simple yet powerful utility which simplifies the whole migration process, resulting in huge productivity saving for the team to the tune of nearly 4x. It comes with managed framework that provides an easy to use UI, an event log, and handles all errors gracefully. It leverages IBM Transformation Advisor to provide you change recommendation and a nice summary report that shows a snapshot of the migration activity. You can see all the integration servers that are migrated successfully or failed during migration, including details such as error code and the reason for failure. Any changes needed to the source code to make it compatible with the newer version of ACE needs to be addressed manually. Now let's talk about some of the features that we have provided in this solution. The first one is simple UI. Okay, so it's simple to use, multi-platform support, which means that it is very easy to use, providing a low learning curve. It supports multiple platforms such as Windows or Linux. One time setup to configure and use the solution. One click approach to backup and migrate. Support multiple migration patterns. Support both node level or execution group level migration. Auto restart successfully migrate nodes and integration servers. Provides HTML based recommendations report generated using IBM Transformation Advisor. Provide a detailed migration report summarizing the migration activity and status of target nodes and reasons for error for failed nodes. And last but not least, all events generated during the migration process are properly logged for future references and troubleshooting purposes. Now, what's new in this release that we have launched? So, in this release, we have launched MQ Object Migration. The product has a new release version 1.4 in which there is a functionality available to select from a drop down which includes nodes plus MQ migration. There is a functionality for in place migration. Using in place migration, you can migrate IIB to ACE using same source and same destination. We have made a lot of UI UX enhancements in the application, and now it is more flexible and friendly UI UX. A lot of enhancement from a user experience and design perspective has been made in the application to make it look more appealing. And reports. The product now has a transformation advisor reports and collective reports at the same time. So, MQ migration, in this image, you can actually see that there is a source backup screen in which nodes and MQ migration activities can take place. And on the right side, you can see there is a destination screen in which we are migrating from that source to this destination. And additionally, there are reports available as well that you can also see and you can download. Now let's have a look at the architecture. Here is a quick look at the architecture of the solution. It takes a backup of the integration nodes and servers and store it in either local storage or remote storage, remote or shared storage. If local storage is used, the backup needs to be manually copied over the target server if it is a different machine. This setup can be skipped if ACE is running on the same node. If shared files from the shared storage, sorry, if shared file storage is used, the solution will automatically pull the backup from the shared storage and extract it in the target location. It uses the transformation advisor to provide recommendations of the selected node. Based on the selection, the nodes or the integration servers are created on the target server and apps are automatically deployed and restarted. Okay, so how to use I2AC? What are the prerequisites? So, identify or set up a user that has an admin access to execute the solution. Ensure that you have Java 8 or above is running on both old and new server and Java home path is set correctly. Install Java if it is missing and set up Java home path. Set up ant path home as well. And then, this is the execution, how you can run it. So there is a source and then there is a target as well. Okay, what are the benefits and the return on investment? So the benefits are faster time to market, and this will help you to accelerate the migration activities. It increases the employee productivity at the same time, and then it has a better dependency management. Leverage IBM Transformation Advisor for migration. Recommendations for best assessment before migration. It is platform agnostic. So I2AC will work on Windows, Linux, and AIX with no change. Employs all the best practices recommended by IBM. It is easy to use. One time configuration, one click to backup and migrate. No need to fiddle with any scripts or MQSL commands. Best visibility for migration environments. And summary reports to show the health of node servers and applications. And auto node starts. So from here, I will pass this on to my colleague Farooq, who will take you through the demo and explain to you about the product. Over to you, Farooq.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of I2AC webinar. Um, um, Let me explain you before going into the demo. Let me explain you the changes we did from the last webinar to this webinar, and what changes we have in the product. We have added, if you remember, last time we did the extract migration, where we have existing system IIB on a different servers, and we are going to migrate into the App Connect, which is in the new machines or the new servers. But there is another in place migration where there is a requirement that you have at the same machine, and in the same machine you want to install both migration. You want to shut it down the existing IAB, and you want to migrate all of your existing applications and binaries into the newly installed App Connect. So that is added into this version. Then we have added the MQ migration as well. So last time we showed that whenever whatever nodes you have up and running, the I2AC application is going to pick that and show, and you can select that whatever you want to migrate. Now we have added the feature that if any node is dependent on MQ, you can have that MQ listed down in the application, and you can select with an option that you want to migrate MQ or you want to select a node as well. Why we keep this option open? Because everybody knows that starting from version 10, IAB is not dependent on MQ anymore. So any client would have their own infrastructure depend upon they want to depend on MQ, or they want to keep it independent of MQ, and they want to manage in a way that um, different nodes would have different capability. Like for example, HTTP nodes, HTTP traffic will go to specific nodes, and maybe MQ will go to specific nodes. So all nodes won't be dependent on MQ. So that's why we give that feature uh, to be independent. Maybe you can run multiple migrations. One time you can migrate only nodes which are independent of MQ, and in other migration you can have another round with the nodes which is dependent on MQ. So now and then we have added some UI enhancement. I'll show you and explain in the demo. Now before going into the demo, let me explain you the environment. I have one VM which is 31. This is an IAB environment. I have kept I have a lot of applications, but for the demo purpose I kept two applications. One is a simple application which is doing some transformation for me, and this application is not dependent on any MQ. It's a normal standard standalone node. And then another one is the node 4, which is a monitoring. So in this node, what we're trying to show is that the from all different application will receive an event. That event will be captured, and that will be posted into the MQ queue. And this I have MQ here. Let me show you. And in that MQ, basically, I have that queue, which is being these all these messages is being sent into that MQ. So this is what we have. Now let me go to I2AC application. I'll remove this existing backup from here, and I'll go to the application. I'll try to run the application. This is my MQ, by the way, and this is the IAB event is the queue. I have 9 messages there. So now I'll just select source. I already have path in my configuration. You can give a path here if you want. Now this application is going to pick all the um, nodes from the source which are up and running, along with the queue manager which are attached with that. So if you can see here, I have two nodes. One node has the dependent queue manager. It is shown here, and the other one is not. So the node which doesn't have any queue manager, you can only have a node migration there, and the queue manager you will have selected by default an option within node and MQ. So here you will have an option that you want MQ, you want to migrate this node with the MQ, or you want to migrate only the node, or you don't want to migrate anything. So if I'll select none, so the only nodes which will be selected, either MQ or node itself, will be migrated. So if I want to skip any node, maybe that is a part of some previous iteration, I can just select none from here, and it will be skipped from this migration cycle. And then we have added the in-place migration, but for this demo, I specifically want to focus on MQ. So that's why the UI is a bit changed in the previous version. We added more um, user-friendly UI, which is easy to work. Um, so I think for this perspective, source perspective, these are the changing, and let's go ahead with start with the migrate. So once I will start migration, it will start taking backup of two nodes and one MQ, which is dependent on MQ node monitoring. So meanwhile, it is taking backup. Let me show you the destination view. I think I already have a backup here just to reduce our time. Yes, I have. So this is my toolkit. This is my App Connect environment. Nothing is being installed here, and this is my MQ. No view manager is there. So when I will start the migration, actually it will install both applications, and we're gonna see that MQ would be created as well. Let's go back to the source system again, and a backup is finished, and I can go to my backup directory and I can see two nodes, one queue manager, and that's one context file. It's so we need to move all this backup into the new folder, or you can select the shared server option from the server and it automatically will be pushed, and that can be get from the destination system. So let's before going to the destination, these are the two applications which are running, and you can see the port. I just tried this application and it is working. Um, so one is this, just I'm getting a delimited string and it is converted into the string, and other, as I said, that's a monitoring event. So I'm getting an event as a JSON, and that has been pushed into the queue of MQ. So now let's go back to our destination part. So as I said, nothing is there. I'm going to run the application now. Now from here, I'll select the destination and I'll click next. Now it will go and pick all the nodes from my backup folder, and it's going to show the same summary to me. So now it's just going to take some time to generate the transformation divisor file. Let me explain you. The same thing is here. Now, if somehow we take the backup of everything there, we have an option here on the left uh, side. There's a checkbox, migrate. Even you have the backup of everything, but if you want to skip something on the destination side while migrating, you can select an option here, and it will just uh, migrate the only which is checked here. So if you uncheck anything, it's gonna skip that node. Secondly, we added this report button here. So just imagine that maybe there are some organizations which have a good number of nodes. So for example, they have 15, 20, 25 nodes. So in that, in previous version, what we added, we can click this and it will show us the button. So we give an option to download into your specific directory as well. But if you click open, it's just gonna open in the browser, and you can review all the recommendation from the transformation advisor. Um, so all the recommendation would be here. So instead, if you want to show in one consolidated report, there's a report button. You click that, um, it will ask you to download the report, and then if you want to select that option, it will take this individual transformation advisor, consolidate into one HTML file, and you can store that and you can review. That's another feature we have added. Now let's go to the migrate. I will start the migration. Now um, what it has supposed to do is it will migrate the both nodes with their runtimes, the MQ with all the queues and related objects, and I'm expecting my application to be up and running on the same ports, HTTP ports, which were on the source system, so that I don't have to change the ports. I'm going to just change the IPs, and the same application should start running on the new system. That's what the target is. So we need to, it will take a minute, and meanwhile I'll go and check here in the app toolkit if anything is there. So one node is already here, and the other one is still in my, so it's going to start node 3, and once that will be started, so I think the queue manager is already there, so let us go there. So its queue manager is already created, and if you'll see, it has created all the queues as well. So you can see this IIB event queue was on a source system, and now we can see that in the destination system. It doesn't have anything because this system is migrated. Once we run something, the message is going to come here. And now let's go back to IIB and see what is the progress there. So second node is there, node 1 is started. So the process is, it takes one node, and it will start it's migrate first and then start that node. And if it has a respective queue manager, it will first migrate the queue manager, so that once node will be created, it would already be in a queue manager, otherwise it's going to fail. So as a precedence, queue manager should be installed first, the queue manager should be there up and running, and then node will be created and will start the application. So once we have everything, so migration is done. Now it's gonna generate a summary for us. So in the summary, it will just show everything is fine. So we just have a two application and two nodes. So it's pretty simple for us. Now let's go back here. I think we need to refresh it. Once I refresh, both applications are there. Now I already have a SOAP UI here, and I'm gonna hit. So if you can see, it's the same ports, um, but it's a different IPs. So I'm just gonna hit that and see my first application is up and running. I go to the second one, which is NQ related node. Click that. So now I'll come back to my NQ and I can see three messages here. So using I2AC, it's pretty much easy now for us to manage our IIB environment into the new App Connect with specific queue managers as a dependency, and you will have an option to iteratively migrate one node or different node or different environments to give a confidence that everything is running fine. Because using this application, you don't have to manage the dependencies, you don't have to recreate the configuration. Even HTTP ports will be same exactly like we have in the source systems. You just need to do is change the IP and DNS with the new system, and we are good to go. Thank you very much, guys, for giving me the opportunity. Um, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, great. Thank you, Farouk. It was really insightful how MQ migration is taking place and how IIB to ACE utility can really help. Now, as part of our discussion for this program, IIB to ACE, we would like to give you a surprise, which is the offer slide, in which you can save your cost and improve your ROI using I2AC complimentary assessment offer, which is starting today from a $0. And in this complimentary assessment, what we're going to offer you is a backup assessment and migration of one integration server, which is going to be part of the execution group. We will generate transformation advisor report for that integration server recommending changes to be done, and then the migration summary report for one integration server. It will also include all the risk mitigation and migrate quickly to meet your IT business goals with this complimentary assessment offers from Royal Cyber. Now, offer is only applicable for webinar attendees. So, if you would like to discuss more about this, you can feel free to write to us and post your questions in the comments as well so that we can respond and can talk to you about this. Now, that being said, we're going to move into our last part of the section, which is going to be question and answer session. And from here, I will take all the questions from the audience.